The first point I want to make about purpose is that you have to cultivate your purpose. There are three ways in which a deep purpose develops in your life. The one way, which is really probably the most normal way, is that it grows. It starts small, and you can see the seeds of it often in your childhood. And it grows and develops over time as you nurture it. If someone has a passion for some particular sport, for example, it develops early in their life. You might have seen the pictures of the young Tiger Woods swinging a golf club, and he demonstrated some ability, and he worked on it until he became the best in the world, and now he's not. But that was the way in which it developed gradually over time. And I believe that the purpose that most people have can develop over time if, in fact, you nurture it and you practice and you repeat and you drill and you discuss and you learn and you don't just leave it to chance, but that you take a real deep look at it. But then sometimes purpose develops in people because they get slam dunked by something. They have a tragedy hit their life that they never realized there was a whole group of other people like that tragedy. And out of that tragedy, they formed a deep purpose in their life that developed and became something great in the world that started from something that was very negative. That's another way in which people cultivate their purpose. It starts with a big jolt. The third way in which people develop purpose is to look at great people around them or great people of the past. I was taught when I was in Bible college that the greatest way to develop a heart for missions was to read missionary biography. I don't like reading biography. I don't like reading novels, but I read some missionary biographies, and I came to understand that the hardships that some of the founders that made the great missions movement that evolved in the 1800s and 1900s around the world came from people who paid a tremendous price to do it. They were alone, and I developed that sense that maybe I'm going to have to be alone because I see things that other people don't see. And I found that looking to those people who became mentors to me, even though I never met them, was a huge portion of my life. And then there have been a few, not a lot, but a few people in my life who I've really looked up to, who have also been the examples that I wanted to follow. I saw in them a depth of purpose, a depth of tenacity, a depth of joy, a depth of participation in life that was really great. And I think that it's very important for all of us to develop purpose one way or another. One of my favorite statements about purpose was Martin Luther King the day before he was assassinated in the year that Wendy and I were married. And he said this in the middle of the speech, and you can look it up online. I just want to do God's will, and he has allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know, and he went on to talk about the development of the freedom of his own race, the black people in America. And he said, I may not get there with you. He didn't know that he wouldn't live out the week. It was the next day that he was assassinated. But it turns out that this was not the only time that Martin Luther King had said that. He had lifted his eyes up beyond what was seen, over the horizon. And he cultivated that deep purpose in his life. And even though he died young, he left an incredible impression upon America. Didn't get to where he wanted to get, but he moved things forward. And that's what really demonstrates a deep cultivation of purpose. And you can do it as well. Maybe not at his level, certainly not at his public persona that developed over time, but you can do it. You can have a purpose in your narrow field that goes over the horizon. Cultivate that. See beyond the goals that you have for today, for those small things that might happen in the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, and see the things that might happen for eternity if you drive towards them, and perhaps others will join you in that cause.